So all of this, when there is a damaged decidua or endometrium, then when she becomes pregnant, the placenta would attach to that. And because it is damaged, then it is easy for the trophoblast to penetrate. Would the patient have bleeding? Yes. Pwede ring wala. Okay? Pwede ring incidental finding only on ultrasound. The patient does not have the characteristic abdominal pain, no, like in abruptio placenta. The uterine tone is normal. Okay. Would the patient come in labor? Yes. Because you have a normal uterine tone, then the presenting fetal part can be palpable. Fetal heart rate can be diagnosed, can be heard. How do you diagnose placenta accreta? It can be diagnosed by ultrasound. You will see that the penetration of the vessels, okay, to the myometrium or to the urinary bladder. Okay. Can a vaginal examination be done? Yes, if you are not thinking of any placenta previa. Placenta previa can what do you call this? Coexist with a placenta accreta. What would be the management? If the patient is bleeding, then you can have an emergency CS and hysterectomy. Kailangan tatanggalin mo yung uterus. Why? Because you cannot deliver that placenta. If you try to deliver that placenta, it would bleed and bleed. Okay? Especially if there is atony. When there is atony secondary to placenta accreta, then that's the time you do your hysterectomy. Okay? Emergency at 34 weeks, no? If the patient, emergency, if the patient is bleeding at any age of gestation, but electively, CS hysterectomy is done usually at 34 weeks or more. You do not wait for it to become term, because if it becomes term, there will be deeper penetration of the placenta and the patient would be in shock. Okay? You understand? That is a summary of our topic. So again, I tell you, you refer to the PowerPoint in the portal. Now, look, I have given some pictures. So this is the placenta, and you would see that there is a circumscribed depression. This part of the placenta has separated. Okay, so it is like this class. This is the uterus. This is the placenta, okay, normally implanted. So when it separates and it sips into the cervix and down, then you would say there is external bleeding. You would see that actually on eye, there is bleeding. However, there's one type of placenta abruptio, wherein the placenta separates. Can you see my cursor? Can you see it? Can you see my cursor? Yes or no?
Nagdi-disappear pa, Doc.
Huh?
Nawawala po siya, Doc.
Which one?
Yung cursor po.
Ito.
Ayan, kita na po. Dapat ginagalaw siya.
So, this is the placenta. And retroplacenta, you would see this clot that has formed. Okay, separating the placenta from the decidua. Okay. Now, this is the concealed type of bleeding, wherein the bleeding does not seep into the cervix. And yet your patient has a tetanically contracted uterus, the fetal heart tones cannot be heard, and the patient is in shock or the patient is very pale. So you would think, am I dealing with a concealed bleeding of placenta abruptio? Okay? Now, Ito naman yung placenta previa. Sabi natin, in placenta previa, the placenta is implanted before the fetal heart, before the fetus. So here you would see that the placenta is very near the cervical os. When you say placenta accreta syndrome, so this would be classified based, as I told you, based on the depth. So this would be your myometrium. Okay, normally there would be the decidua, yung endometrium mo. The decidua is a specialized endometrium actually of pregnancy. So we have an intact decidua, and there would be the placenta. But look at the following slides. Accreta, increta, and percreta. Okay, so there in accreta, there would be penetration of the trophoblast into the myometrium. If the whole myometrium is penetrated by the trophoblast, you call it increta. Now, if the myometrium, if the blood vessels has invaded beyond the uterus, then you can label it as percreta. As I told you, ngayon, the accreta, increta, and percreta, these are collectively known as the morbidly adherent placenta. Okay? Whatever it is, accreta, increta, or percreta, then you have to do cesarean section hysterectomy. Okay? Are we now ready for our cases? Justin, could you read the case? Hindi tayo we would just understand each case. Could you read the case, please, Justin?
Okay po, Doc. So for the case number 1, a 32 years old G2P1 on her 34th weeks age of gestation is brought to the emergency room due to vaginal bleeding. Vital signs revealed a blood pressure of 120/80, heart rate of 110, respiratory rate of 20, abdominal examination, a fundic height of 30 centimeters, and the FW equals 2.0 kilograms
That is estimated fetal weight.
With no fetal heart tones appreciated. Painful contractions were coming every 2 minutes, strong, lasting for 40 to 60 seconds. On internal examination, cervix was 1 centimeter dilated, beginning effacement with a fetal head at station 3. Bag of waters was ruptured with egress of bloody amniotic fluid. Diagnosis, A placenta.
So you have, these are actually your differential diagnosis for this case. So hihimay-himayin natin. What makes pathologic obstetrics difficult for you students is that these are more analytical. Puro cases ang ibibigay sa inyo. Konti lang dyan ang recall. Okay? Now, if you are studying pathologic OB on such a precept of analysis, then you will pass the subject. But if you will study pathologic OB on memorization alone, you will not pass the subject. Okay? So in this enhanced lecture, I would guide you on how to analyze. Okay? So first thing you do, look at the age. Look at the parity and look at the AOG. So in this particular case, we are dealing with a preterm baby. What is the chief complaint? Vaginal bleeding. You know, all of these differentials are vaginal bleeding of presenting signs na yan. Is the mother still okay? Yes, tachycardic lang siya. The BP is still okay. Okay. Is the baby okay? Yes. Why? Because you are hearing, is the baby okay? You do not know. Although it is appropriately grown for a 34-weeker, you cannot hear the fetal heart tones. Why? Because of the contractions that is coming, that are strong, coming every 2 minutes. Is that expected for a cervix that is 1 centimeter dilated? Pag sinabi mong 1 centimeter, nasaan tayo? Latent phase or active phase? Di ba nasa latent phase tayo? In latent phase, do you expect the contractions coming every 2 minutes? No. Huh? The contractions coming, as the description, coming every 2 minutes, strong, lasting for 40 to 60 seconds. These are uterine contractions that is seen on the active phase. Yung magdi-deliver na siya. No? But our patient, based on I, is only 1 centimeter. And therefore, like you said, and therefore you do not expect this. Also, the bag of waters was ruptured with egress of bloody amniotic fluid. So when you have a bloody amniotic fluid, you think of abruptio. Okay, so those are the things that would favor the diagnosis of abruptio placenta, painful contractions. No? Now, yung previa, di ba sabi natin, vaginal bleeding with painless contraction. Walang contractions, painless. Ito painful di ba? Painful vaginal bleeding. So you think of placenta abruptio. Why wouldn't you think of uterine rupture? Uterine rupture, it would cause immediate fetal death or maternal death. The vital signs here would be in shock. Our index patient is not. You will not be able to palpate the fetal heart tones on internal examination. Kasi nag-rupture siya lumabas siya doon ang fetus sa abdominal cavity. Okay, so this is not, again, a picture of uterine rupture. It is a picture of acrita. Okay, patient is bleeding, 3rd trimester. Okay, patient do not have any uterine contractions. But in acrita, there would be no bloody amniotic fluid. The bloody amniotic fluid is here for abruptio placenta. Do you understand, class? Paano tayo nag-a-analyze? Huh? Okay, let's go to the next case. Management naman. So, Stephen, John, could you read the case?
30-year-old J3P2, hypertensive, 36 weeks age of gestation, BP is 140/90, heart rate is 90, RR is 20, cervix 6 centimeters, station at 1, ruptured bag of waters revealing bloody amniotic fluid, contractions coming every 2 minutes, strong, lasting 40 to 60 seconds, BFHR 140 to 145.
Baseline fetal heart rate.
Fetal heart rate is 140 to 145 BPM, minimal variability, no accelerations, and positive for variable decelerations.
Okay. First, our diagnosis would be, again, abruptio. What would be the basis? Richmond, Amorao, what would be your basis that it is abruptio?
Actually, Doc, tatlo po. Yung no fetal heart tones, tas painful contraction, tas bloody amniotic fluid.
Correct. Very good. Okay. So now, the question is management. So sabi ko sa inyo, the management would depend on the age of gestation, the maternal status, as well as the fetal status. Okay, let's go first to the fetus. Mother muna, mother. Is the mother in shock? No, mother is stable. Okay. Now, how about the fetus? Is the fetus, do you think the fetus would survive if we deliver? Yes, near term, 36 weeks na yan eh. Okay. Now, how about the heart rate, the fetal status? Okay. Reassuring ba yan or is the fetus in distress? Matthew Gotladera, is your fetus in distress?
Not in distress.
Not in distress? Minimal variability, anak. May variable decelerations ka na. wala kang accelerations. So, your fetus is in distress. Para sabihin mo na ang fetus mo is reactive or ang status is good, there should be 1, accelerations, 2, good variability, and 3, no decelerations. So again, Matthew, in this case, is the fetus in distress or not?
In distress.
So what would be your route of delivery?
Emergency cesarean.
Correct. Very good. See? Na-analyze ninyo. Okay. Now, Christian, tayag.
This is
The
a case of
case.
this is a case of a 30-year-old patient. Gravida 1 para 0, 36 weeks AOG. BP niya po is 80/50, HR is 120, and RR is 20. Cervix is 6 cm, station -1, rupture of bag of water, revealing bloody amniotic fluid with clots. Contraction is coming every 2 minutes strong, lasting 40 to 60 seconds, and then baseline FHR is 140 to 145 BPM, minimal variability, negative acceleration, positive variable decelerations
What
po.
is your diagnosis, Christian?
Brapsho pa rin po kasi nandyan pa rin yung doc, bloody amniotic fluid with
Okay.
clots pa siya.
So, what can you say about the maternal status?
Hypotachy-tachy, doc.
Ano ibig sabihin niya?
Shock.
Patient is in shock.
Yes
Okay,
po.
how about the fetal status?
Same din siya, doc. Negative acceleration. Meron siyang
So
variable
what would be your
acceleration.
diagnosis for the fetal status?
Fetus is in distress din po.
Okay, so given that one, this scenario, what would be your route of delivery?
Stat CS din po, doc.
Okay, so you will do emergency science section, but before you do that, you have to stabilize your patient first. So the ABC, airway, give oxygen. B, blood, prepare blood, and C, the circulation of large bore needles, your colloid IVF. Okay. Scenario 3. Okay, Charis, Legaspi, could you read?
38-year-old Gravi for para 2, hypertensive, 28 weeks age of gestation, BP is 130/80, heart rate is 120, RR 20. Cervix is 2 centimeters, beginning effacement station 1, intact bag of waters, contraction coming every 2 minutes, strong lasting 40 to 60 seconds. Basal fetal heart rate is 160 to 165 BPM, minimal variability, negative deceleration, positive variable decelerations.
Again, diagnosis. What would be your diagnosis?
Abruptio placenta pa rin.
What is the risk factor present here to think of abruptio placenta? Hypertension. Okay. So our baby is 28 weeks. So here is a scenario wherein you would think, would I expedite the delivery, delivering 28 weeks? Would this baby survive in the NICU or your neonatal intensive care unit? Or would I prolong the pregnancy, maintaining that fetus inside the uterus? But with this risk factor, would she be in the verge of having a fetal death in utero? So that is one condition where we really would have some problems with regards to decision making. Okay, what would favor the prolongation or extension of this pregnancy? 1, because the baby is still 28 weeks. 2, the maternal, so far, the maternal status is still okay. And 3, she's still remote from delivery, having 2 centimeters only. But then, you have this fetal distress with minimal variability and with variable decelerations. There were no accelerations. So this fetal status would negate prolonging the pregnancy. So in this case, you might, remember, your heart rate here is 120 already. Your patient might be in the warm stage of shock. Okay? So you have to transfer or deliver this pregnancy, this mother, into a tertiary medical center that can cater a very preterm baby. Okay? Can you understand, class? Yes or no?
Yes po.
Okay, nakamute, ano? Okay. Nohara, Jason, mga personalities na dito, kilala ko lahat, ah. Oh, Jason, read. Management. Correct. Vaginal delivery because the fetus is dead already. If you do cesarean section, you will add insult to injury. Maternal status still okay. Now, basta ba, pag nag-shock ang mother, then even if the fetus is dead, you have to deliver by cesarean section. Pero if the maternal status is okay, again, remote from term, 28-weeker, the fetal death in utero, and your diagnosis is abruptio placenta, then there is room for a vaginal delivery. Next, Efrelin K. Is this Reginding or Reginding?
Reginding po, Doc.
Reginding, okay, okay.
A 32-year-old GP1 on her 34th week age of gestation is brought to the emergency room due to vaginal bleeding for the past 2 hours. History revealed that she had a similar episode 2 weeks ago for which no consult was done since bleeding stopped spontaneously. Examination revealed stable vital signs, baby in breech presentation with estimated fetal weight appropriate for gestational age, and with good fetal heart tone. What is the best diagnostic test to request to confirm your impression?
Okay, what is your impression?
Placenta previa po, Doc.
Yes, placenta previa because number one,
Yung
mature.
painless.
Okay, you have a vaginal bleeding, second attack, correct? Okay.
Apo.
Okay, and then malpresentation of the fetus. You are still able to hear the fetal heart rate. So that means there is no uterine hypertonus. Okay. So now that it is placenta previa, what is the best diagnostic test?
Transvaginal ultrasound.
Okay, very good. So ultrasound actually is the best diagnostic modality to confirm the impression of placenta previa. It is available always. It is cheaper, okay? And you do not need the sonologist would always be there, okay? So it is a cross between transabdominal ultrasound and transvaginal ultrasound. Yan ang pipiliin ng dalawa. Okay, what would be better, a transabdominal or a transvaginal? The transvaginal ultrasound would give you a better view of the length of the cervix and the approximation of the placental edge to that internal os. Sasabihin nyo, ay doktora, di ba bawal ang digital examination? Okay, in doing the transvaginal ultrasound, you only place the probe not very near the ultrasound, the cervix actually, kahit dyan lang sa translabial area, you can already see the cervix. The transabdominal ultrasound may give may not give you a very good image of the cervix, especially if the bladder is not filled. The MRI here is not the best. Why? Because I told you not all institutions or hospital has an MRI, and it would require a subspecialist to interpret that MRI. Can you do speculum examination? Yes. You can do a gentle speculum examination in cases of suspected placenta previa, but it should be gentle. Now, finding a placenta there at the os would say, yes, this is placenta previa. But if you do not find a placenta there at the os, you cannot say it is not placenta previa. So in dito, transvaginal ultrasound ang best. Okay, class? Oh, ito, ultrasound. O yan, nakalagay na. Ito yung cervix, ito yung placenta. Oh, so, sino susunod? Bardelosa. Oh, nandun pala si Jessie. Bardelosa. Oh, this is the cervix. Oh, this is the urinary. Can you see my cursor, Jess? So, this is the bladder. This is the cervix, external os, internal os. And then, nandito yung placenta. So, what is the diagnosis, Jessie?
Placenta previa.
Placenta previa. Could you venture on the type of placenta previa? Meron siyang totalis, partialis, marginalis. So, ano na?
Placenta previa totalis.
Totalis. Because the internal os is entirely covered by the placenta. So, nandito yung fetal head, oh. So, naturally, hindi pwede ang vaginal delivery because the placenta is obstructing that fetal head. Oh. In the previous case, placenta previa yun ha, 34 weeks. May second episode na of bleeding. What would be the next best step? Aaron Tan.
Schedule for an emergency CS.
Correct. Very good. Okay. Why? Because your patient is already on the second attack. 34 weeks, viable na yan. Especially in a tertiary center. You cannot expectant. Ibig sabihin, wala kang gagawin. Puprolong mo lang yung pregnancy. Titingnan mo kung magbe-bleed siya o hindi. In this case, second, profuse bleeding na yun. Maybe during the first episode, pwede pa siguro, no? Pero, kasi nag-stop naman yung bleeding. But in this second episode, 34-weeker, then there is room. Mas maganda i-CS muna. Okay? You do not do forceps or vacuum delivery, ha? Why? Placenta ang nandun, di naman yung fetal head. Okay. Oh, ito. Sige. Sino na? Oh, Maria Clarissa Villog. I think this is the last line. Could you read?
A 40-year-old G3P2, P34 weeks consulted due to profuse vaginal bleeding. Her previous pregnancies were delivered by LSCS. Ultrasound revealed an active, appropriately grown fetus. The placenta was noted to be implanted anteriorly, bulging into the urinary bladder. The vesical uterine serosa is disrupted by the said bulging mass, with vessels penetrating the urinary bladder. What is the management?
First of all, anak, would you do an emergency delivery or would you wait for 37 weeks? Ano muna ang diagnosis mo? Yan muna natin diagnosis mo. Bago tayo mag-management. Anong diagnosis natin dito? Clarice?
Ano do?
Ano yung isa? Senta? You know, with vessels penetrating into the urinary bladder. Penetrate na siya. Oh, these are the vessels of the placenta. Anong tawag mo doon? Ha? Anong tawag mo doon? Sila ba yung Charis?
Yes, Doc.
Charis, hindi ka na marinig.
Yes, Doc.
What is your diagnosis?
Placenta accreta po ba, Doc?
Correct. Placenta accreta. Di ba sabi natin pag accreta, the trophoblastic cells would penetrate deep into the myometrium. Actually, ito percreta na ito eh. Outside the myometrium into the urinary bladder na eh. Masulat na dito. No? So, in that case, would you still wait for 37 weeks? Ano yung sabi natin kanina? You would not wait for 37 weeks anymore. Why? Because pag hinintay mo yung 37 weeks, you would encounter a lot of bleeding as well as deeper penetration. And you cannot save that uterus anymore. Okay? Then, ito, sabi natin, when there is profuse vaginal bleeding and your diagnosis is accreta, then you do an emergency cesarean section with hysterectomy. Diba sabi natin kanina, CS hysterectomy. So, ang iisipin mo lang, would it be elective or emergency? Emergency kasi meron siyang profuse vaginal bleeding at 34 weeks. Okay? Hindi mo dapat i-prolong yung pregnancy. Would you do hysterectomy in cases of accreta? Yes, especially if that uterus would not contract. No? Hindi mo matatanggal kasi yung ano eh, yung attached placenta mo there eh. Pag iniwan mo yon, it would cause bleeding. Class, naintindihan nyo na? Okay. Okay, can I see you, all of you? Okay, so we have presented the different cases, no? First of all, I have presented to you how to differentiate previa, abruptio, and accreta. Then we went into the cases and discussed each one. I have taught you on how to analyze each case because this is exactly what you would be encountering in your SGD, it would be application, and then in your exams. Puro cases po. Pag pathologic OP. Okay? So, tinuruan ko na kayo kung paano yung thought process ninyo dapat. Please refer to my uploaded video. No, not video, but PowerPoint presentation. Okay, may PowerPoint doon summarizing the antepartum hemorrhage conditions. Okay, you have any questions? Any questions? Wala. Okay, so we can call this a day. So good morning, everyone. Bye-bye.
Morning, Doc. Thank you po.
Thank you, Doc.